Hi everyone, this is Janet Kim, the Special Education Recruitment Specialist. Today I've decided that I'm going to record an application walkthrough for the Post Baccalaureate Certificate in Special Education. So basically what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to show the steps for applying to the UH system application, as well as the College of Education Mākale application, and then towards the end I'll kind of give some tips and tricks related to the supplemental materials that you'll need to be submitting. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing you'll want to do is apply to UH. So when you type in the link that's shown on the checklist, which is right here, apply.hawaii.edu, you'll come on this page, which is actually new. They must have put this up a couple of weeks ago, but basically this does add an extra layer of confusion because our post-baccalaureate certificate in special education is actually classified as an undergraduate program. So now you're going to want to choose Mānoa undergraduate to get started. Okay, so you'll come to the Office of Admissions page, and then we just say, not a freshman, apply here. And here we are. So this is where the link used to take you. It used to take you directly to this website, but now there's a couple of extra steps. So for those of you who may have already attended UH in the past, you're going to think that you're going to want to try to put in your login ID and a password, but it's not going to work. The PIN is actually a PIN number, so it's highly likely that you're not going to remember it. And it's very hard to get a response from somebody in regards to recovering your PIN. So my recommendation for everyone is to just create a login ID and PIN number from the beginning. And what will happen is once they see information such as your social security number or things like that, then they'll just connect the two accounts that you've already had. So this will not create any problems down the road. Just go ahead and create a login ID and PIN number, which means you're just going to start fresh. For me, I do have one that I've been using to just give demonstrations, so I'm going to go ahead and use it. And keep in mind that your PIN number has to be 6 numbers, so definitely write it down on the checklist as you're going through, just in case you need to come back to it later. But once you've put that in, log in. You most likely will not see this. It might go straight into an application, but if you do, this is just your menu of applications you've already started, so I'm going to start new. Okay, for your institution, make sure you choose the University of Hawaii at Mānoa. And this is only tricky for those on Maui because you have to choose the site and make sure you choose UH Mānoa main campus regardless of where you are. This is just where the program's being housed. And since we do offer it via distance to all the islands, it's still coming through the UH Mānoa main campus. All right, so when you get to this is probably where most people will make mistakes. Post-baccalaureate certificates in education are classified as undergraduate transfer and returning. So please make sure you choose undergraduate transfer and returning as your application type. If you don't, and let's say you choose graduate studies, not only is it going to go to the wrong place, but you're going to be paying a higher application fee and it will not be refundable. So this is the most important step in regards to applying to UH. Make sure you choose undergraduate transfer and returning. And then click continue. Make sure you're choosing the semester that you're applying to. Currently, we're accepting applications for fall 2019. We only admit in the fall, so the next opportunity, if you miss this March 1st deadline, will be for fall 2020. So for now, I'm just going to choose fall 2019. Make sure you put in your name. They ask that you spell it correctly using capital letters only for the first letters. And then just say fill out your application. And so this UH application is actually really easy and quick. It's a lot of personal information, but it's just 10 steps, and then you'll go to the end and submit it. Some tricks that I want to point out is under name. If you have any records, like let's say previous transcripts of where your name was different, maybe a maiden name, you're going to want to list that here. That way they know to keep on file if they receive transcripts with a different name on it. Okay, so continue. In terms of your address, if your address is the same for your permanent address and your mailing address, you can just click this box and it'll copy it over for the second one. Otherwise, don't check it and write it in if you have a different one. But see what happens when I push that and push continue. Personal information, I won't be able to fill this out, but this is definitely important. Some background information, make sure you put in your birthday, social security number. This is where they're gonna connect your accounts if you've had a previous one. And I'm just gonna return to the checklist. So what you'll see here is as you start doing things, things are just gonna be checked off. So because my permanent address was the same as my mailing address and I checked that box, it checked it off for both of these. Another trick to get through this application faster is under citizenship-related data. Most people just start picking things, but if you look at the top, it says, citizens, please skip this page. So if you are a US citizen, you don't actually need to fill out anything. You just push continue. And I'll show you what happens when we get back to the checklist. And then you're gonna move into your residency declaration. Definitely fill that out. If you're trying to get in-state tuition, you have to be in Hawaii for a year and a day to qualify. Most likely you're going to skip section A2 because this is only for, you know, people whose taxes are under their parents. College enrollment, most likely you're going to choose no, that you did not attend somewhere outside of Hawaii in the past year. And then the section C is exemptions. Read through them, but most likely you're just going to have to click none of the above exemptions apply to me. So citizen-related data is checked off because I happened to just go in there and push continue. I didn't fill anything out. And then the most important one, planned course of study. You need to go down to the Post Baccalaureate Certificate in Special Education. Do not choose secondary education. That is a different program. So even if you're looking at becoming a special education secondary teacher, you still need to choose special education as your program type. And what's really weird about this application is they have this button for concentration. Unfortunately, they don't actually list our mild, moderate, or severe autism tracks, so you just leave it like that. But if you don't go in here and click that button, it won't actually let you continue on. So just make sure you click it, and it's okay if it says select. Don't worry about it, just keep going. And then push continue. And then it's going to take you to your schools. So for the high school, don't worry about it. All you need to do is put when you graduated. But what's nice about what's embedded into the application is you can actually look up your high school. So select your state or your country. So if you graduated from Hawaii somewhere, you would just pick Hawaii, push next, your city. So I've just been picking random ones. Next, your high school name. Ooh, got 3. And it should automatically populate the address, which is kind of nice. And then all you have to do is put in when you graduated. Don't worry, you don't need transcripts or anything like that. So then just push continue, and then you're going to do the exact same thing for all the universities you've attended. So community colleges, where you got your bachelor's degree, if you've gotten a master's degree, you'll want to put in all the schools. And so you can look up the school, it'll populate the address. You just need to put your GPA. If you don't know exactly, just go ahead and estimate it. They are going to validate it once they receive your transcripts. And then just put in when you attended, if you had earned a degree at that institution, what degree it was, what it was in, when you got it. And then if you do have more than one institution, then you would just click this button to add the next one. Keep in mind that UH is a stickler about transcripts. They will want transcripts from every institution that you have ever attended. Even if you submitted the transcripts in the past, unless it was in the last year or 2, you're most likely going to have to do it again. And again, it'll be for every institution you've ever attended that is not already part of the UH system. So you don't have to worry about UH Mānoa, UH Hilo, UH West Oahu, or any of the local Hawaii community colleges. They have access to those, but if you did take courses elsewhere, then please send in those transcripts. And the address for sending the transcripts is here on the checklist. Make sure it goes to this address. And they prefer that they come straight from the institution. They don't want, even if it's like a sealed copy, they don't want it from the applicant. They want it directly from the institution. So sometimes it's just easier to go ahead and send that directly. Okay, so you'll continue on. And then once all of those are checked off, then it'll just go straight into your application fee, which for the Post Baccalaureate Certificate in Special Education, because it's listed under undergraduate, you only have to pay the $70 undergraduate application fee. And it'll be by credit card, and then they'll email you a confirmation afterwards. But that's it for in terms of the UH application. So that one's pretty quick. So finish later. If you decide to come back to it later, maybe you wanted to go look up some unofficial transcripts, things like that, you can always say finish later. It'll take you back to this homepage, and then when you log back in later, just click on the one that you were working on over here. Okay, so that's that one. Let's move on to the College of Education one, which is a little bit more involved. So again, the links are all listed on the checklist. So we're going to go to this one, makale.coe.hawaii.edu. Okay, so this is our College of Education application, and it is a free application. It's a place where you can actually put in all the supplemental materials, and this is where you're going to indicate whether you're pursuing the mild, moderate, or severe and autism route. So this one's a little bit different in terms of how you enter. If you do have an active UH email address, then you can directly go into the application using your username and password. But this will not be the same as the one you just created for the last application. They're not going to be connected yet. So only do this if you already have an active email address that you've already been using. Otherwise, if you haven't, it's okay. You can use your personal email and password, but what's tricky is most people don't realize you have to create it first. So you're going to want to create an account, put in your email, create a password, your basic information, and then push register. And what'll happen is you'll be emailed a confirmation to the email that you used in here, and then you'll need to check that email and click on it in order to get access to the application. Okay? So you'll have to do that first. And then let's say you don't finish it and you want to come back. From that point on, you can get in using personal email and password. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to start over. So if you already started, it'll take you to where you started, where you left off. But for the purposes of this, I'm just going to start over. So I'm going to say start a new journey. So again, if let's say you start applying and it's for the wrong program, you can always click on My Mākale up here, go to this page and start a new journey. Okay, so there's a lot of clicking in this one. So just know that you're just going to keep clicking, select, select, select. So this one's a pretty straightforward. You're going to choose Post Baccalaureate Certificates. Then you're going to go to the bottom and choose Post Baccalaureate Certificate Special Education. Semester, choose fall. Now here's where you're actually going to say, are you going to pursue the mild moderate emphasis, or are you going to choose the severe disabilities and autism emphasis? For the demo, I'll choose severe and autism. And then your location of where you will be participating from. So let's just choose an island and push continue. Okay, so don't worry about all this information. If you've already been in touch with me, then you've gotten all of this information already. So just push continue. Same with the advising. I do recommend only contacting the OSOS advisors if your GPA is a concern and you want to figure out what it is currently. Maybe you think it might be a little below the 2.75 requirement, then you should contact them. Otherwise, if that's not a concern, then definitely don't even worry about it. Just push continue. Now you're going to confirm that, yes, this is the program you want. Keep that as a no. Okay, confirm that you are putting in the correct information. Continue. Okay, so checklist. This is the main part of your application. Okay, so a lot of these things are just to go in and check. The confusing thing about this is most people think of a checklist as being things only after you've completed them. But that's not the case for this one, and I will show you where that kind of applies. But the first one is gainful employment information. This is a requirement by the university. In order to offer certificates, it has to directly correlate to getting a job. And so we do have our employment data that says, yes, the Post Baccalaureate Certificate in Special Education will get you employed if you complete the certificate. So you just click off that you understand that. Then they want to make sure, did you complete the UH application? That's the one we just did. So yeah, we went ahead and submitted that, paid our $70. Okay, do you have a bachelor's degree? Yes, I have, or will be graduating this semester from an accredited four-year institution. And so as you start doing this, you'll start seeing things checked off. Cumulative GPA, I understand the GPA requirements. Just know that our GPA requirement for this particular program is a 2.75. If you have anything a little bit lower than that, you could still be considered if there's still space. But anything below a 2.5 will not even be considered. You'll be automatically denied. So just keep that in mind. But if you have above a 2.5, you can go ahead and submit your application in hopes that there's still space. Otherwise, 2.75 is the actual GPA requirement. So just say that you understand that. Okay, praxis. Okay, so we do require the core, the entrance writing exam for admissions purposes to this program. So here is the link to register if you have not yet done so. But if you haven't already, I did create a praxis writing document. I highly recommend that you refer to this. The writing workshops are all done at this point in time. You can still fill it out if you want to take our mock exam just as practice. But basically what you're going to want to look at is this information to make sure that you're registering for the right test. They don't give refunds either, and they're very sticklers about it, so you want to make sure that you're registering for the correct one, which is the 5722 test code. The test itself is 100 minutes, but they give you you're going to be registering for 150 minutes. I think they give you breaks in between. Basically, the rule is that for purposes of applying, you need to have registered by March 1st. And that just means that you've paid to take the test. You can actually sit for the test in March if you need to. So let's say you just learned about the program, it's almost March 1st. That's okay. Just go in and sign up for your test date. Pick a date in March. And as long as you can send me your confirmation that you have paid and registered to take the test sometime in March, then that's all we need in terms of admittance purposes. Keep in mind, though, that it does take a couple of weeks for them to score your exam because it's writing, and we won't be able to give you admissions decisions until we've received that score. So the earlier you take it, the better, but just keep in mind that as long as you've actually paid and registered by March 1st, that's what we'll need. So just send your confirmation that you have registered so we know the date so that we know when to look out for your test scores. And you'll send that to me at spedinfo@hawaii.edu. So for the purposes of the checklist, you're just saying that you're aware of the requirement. You don't need to wait until you've taken the praxis to check this off. In fact, if you do that, you won't be able to submit your application. So just check it off that you understand the requirements and that you are going to register to take it by March 1st. Okay, video recorded responses is the next one that causes a lot of anxiety and questions. So what we're doing is instead of having a face-to-face interview, you are just gonna be recording yourself responding to a couple questions. I think it's about 5. And they're only 2 minutes each. So it really won't take that long. You get to choose the day, the time, the location, whatever is most convenient for you to get this done. When you're ready, the link to get into it is right here, and it'll open up in a separate window. Basically, what it's gonna look like is you're gonna be testing out, you're gonna set up your computer to make sure that your audio is working and your video camera is working. And then when you're ready to start, you're going to get a video of one of our faculty members just asking you a question. You're going to get a 30-second grace period to kind of gather your thoughts. So if you're the type of person that likes to have a little notepad next to you, you can write down words to kind of trigger your memory of what you want to talk about to answer that question. But you're going to be given a 2-minute time frame. It will automatically cut you off after 2 minutes. If that happens, don't worry about it. It does happen. Just move on to the next one. But try not to get cut off every single question. But if it happens, you know, don't worry too much about it. It's just we don't want you to feel like you have to do a monologue for every response. Just answer the question. We're just trying to get to know you, see you, hear your oral communication skills, things of that nature. I do have a demo if you want to get used to the platform. Like if you're just really worried about what is that going to look like, you've never done something like that before, I did create a resource. So you can go to bit.ly/, here we go, video recorded response demo. And so what I did was I created this sheet that just explains, you can watch a video of me doing it so you can see what it looks like. And then you can practice yourself by signing up for an account, and I gave step-by-step directions on how to actually do that. Keep in mind that this is all for practice. This is not the real thing, and it's free, so that's why I wanted to share it. They will only give 1:30, so it's a little bit shorter than our actual one, but it's good just to kind of, if you want to get a feel for it and what it's going to look like. The questions are all different. This one is actually tailored towards getting a job because they're using this platform for employment nowadays. But if you are the type that you just want to get comfortable to what is that going to feel like, what is that going to look like, then I highly recommend that you practice using this demo. But always go back in, and to get to the real thing, you need to click on this link here. And keep in mind that this does need to be completed by the March 1st deadline. So you need to do this before you actually submit this application. And then there's some directions over here. My recommendation in terms of tips and tricks for this section is, you know, be mindful of what's behind you. You can even hang up like a blanket or a cloth behind you to get a nice clean background. Otherwise, just be aware of what's around you. You know, if you have family, if you have kids, if you're going to have people that are in the vicinity, put up a note outside the door just saying, please don't enter recording in progress, because we have had instances where maybe someone was recording after school and someone walked in behind. You can't re-record your questions. So just make sure that you're not going to be disturbed. And maybe allot about 30 minutes total to get through the whole process. So kind of block out that time. But again, you get to choose, you know, when and where you do it. So just pick a time that you're not going to feel rushed and you're going to be comfortable, and you can just get the whole thing done in one swoop. You are able to start and stop and come back to things, but not after you've seen a question. So once you see it, you have to finish it. So just keep that in mind. So once you've finished that, go ahead and click the box that you've done it and push save. Statement of objectives is really short and sweet. I recommend you write it on a Word document first. That way you have access to spell check and things like that, because you won't have it in here. And then you can just copy and paste it in. You know, keep it within 100 words, about 1 page. We don't want it to be too long, but just tell us why you want to be a special education teacher. Writing is very important, so we're looking at, can you construct a nice essay? And we're also just looking at, well, why do you want to do this? So once you've done that, make sure you copy and paste it in, and then check the box that you've done it. Anytime you go in and you haven't yet done it, there is a little X that you can get out and go back to the checklist. So as you can see, this one is not checked off because I did not check the box. Resume, just update your resume. Make sure that you're talking about any experience you may have working with students and individuals with disabilities. And then what's nice is you can upload it directly on here using this link. And we do ask that you put your name and resume on there so that we know what it is once you upload it. You could also send it directly to us if you wanted to, but I think the upload feature is very convenient. So just click the box that you've done that. And then 3 professional references. So what's nice about this program is we do not need formal letters of recommendation. What's going to happen instead is you just put their name, their email, their phone number, and then the relationship, how you know them. And you see these little boxes right here. They are automatically going to be sent a Google form to fill out on your behalf. So it's just a recommendation form. So it makes it a lot easier for them. Let's say you already have a letter, then that's fine. What you can do is upload it yourself and send it to us, or have them send it to us. Just uncheck this box so that they don't receive that form, because you don't want them to have to do both. If they've already spent time writing a letter of recommendation, then that's fine. We will take that. So just uncheck the box next to their name. But otherwise, it will automatically be checked because that's just the way that it's designed. So as long as you just fill in their information, as soon as you say, yes, I've done it, and click save, they will receive the recommendation form. There's also a grace period for them, so they can have until March 15th to fill out those forms. So in terms of what you need to do, you just need to make sure your application gets in by March 1st. And then you can let them know that they'll have until March 15th to go ahead and fill that out. Earlier the better, but that is just in case there's people applying at the last minute. And then the last thing on here might not be important. If your GPA is close to the 2.75 or a little below, you will want to fill this out. Just saying if you've repeated courses, because the academic advisors will actually adjust your GPA and only take the better grade of the 2. So you can look through your unofficial transcripts and just put in what course it was, where you took it, what semester, how many credits, and what you got. And then they'll adjust your GPA. But for most of you, if your GPA is not a concern and you have a 2.75 or higher, then just go ahead and click the box and be done and say save. So don't worry about it unless you need that in terms of your GPA. So once all of these are done, this button will light up and you'll have a couple more steps. I think you need to put in your social security number again, because we're gonna have to do the background and fingerprinting checks. They're gonna just talk about how you're gonna need to get liability insurance, but don't worry about all of that stuff just yet. We'll go over it again once you're admitted into the program. But just make sure all these things are done by March 1st, that you click on there, you do the next couple steps, and you get to the page that says, thank you for submitting your application. And then you're done. And then you can focus on your studying for your praxis. So again, on this document, I created a tutorial on how to register for the test. I also gave examples of different test centers and when they're offering it. I haven't updated it in a while, so this was just to give you an idea of kind of like when they offer it, whether it's weekdays or weekends, things like that. And then down here, we even have some additional resources to help study for the praxis exam. Again, the passing score is 162. That's what you need to get. It's on a scale of 100 to 200. And a 162, that's your goal. Don't get a 161. 162 is fine. If you get a 200, that's amazing, but really we're just focusing on this 162. Okay, so once you get that, you will be all set. And that's about it. If you, let's say you submit your application and then someone gives you a letter of recommendation afterwards, that's fine. Anytime you want to add a document to your application file, when you log in, click on your name, which is in the upper right-hand corner, go to My Documents, and upload a document here. So you can always upload your own documents. Let's say you forgot to put something on your resume and you wanted to update it. That's fine. Update it and go ahead and upload it here. Also, you can send your link to your reference directly. So let's say they came and told you, oh, I wrote you a letter of recommendation, and say, okay, I'm going to send you a link. Can you upload it for me? And then you can copy and paste this and send it to them. All right, but that's it. So once those 2 applications are submitted, then you will be considered for fall admissions. Again, this checklist is kind of help you keep track of where you are, make sure you submit your transcripts, and here is that link to if you want to practice for your video recorded responses. And then if you have any other questions, feel free to contact me at spedinfo@hawaii.edu. And we look forward to seeing your application. Thank you.